So, it's been a while since I've done a Let's Play. I think the last one might have been Sunshine back in 2016. Which, of course, took me years and years to upload, so it might not feel that long, but it's been a long time. And I figure I'll get back. And it's a game I didn't expect to be getting back with. And I'm probably going to regret starting this Let's Play, considering my opinions on this game and what happens later. But, we're playing Finding Nemo on the original Xbox. Yes, Finding Nemo on the Xbox. Oil and water. But, yeah, the Xbox. And this game, there's a few reasons I want to Let's Play it. For one, it fits into my sort of style of series. It's an obscure game. There's not that many Let's Plays of this on YouTube. Like, I mean, heck, one of the other ones I did was Wall-E, another Pixar game. This is another Pixar game. And the other reason is I have experience with this one. As you can see, I beat the game just last year 100%. Spoiler alert, this is not going to be a 100% Let's Play, not in the slightest. Because 100% in this game is an absolute pain in the butt. Yeah, this game's a sort of mixed bag. There's a lot of things that this game does right. Starting with the soundtrack, which... just look it up on YouTube. If you want something to fall asleep to, there are so many great relaxing tunes in this game. And there's plenty of other great ones. Like, if you like Toy Story 2, the video game soundtrack, if you like Rascals soundtrack, if you like any other Traveler's Tales game soundtrack, you will like this soundtrack. That's one thing this game does right. The visuals, mostly, it does right too. And a lot of the levels are fun, but a lot of them aren't. And there's some dumb mechanics here that I'll probably have to look up as we go through this series. And one other thing I want to start doing with these series is version differences. So, as I said, I'm playing the original Xbox version. Believe it or not, I own multiple copies of this game. Two, I own this on the GameCube as well. And the lesson here is avoid the GameCube version. Just like the last game I played, Wrath of Cortex. Traveler's Tales, they just... I don't know what it was, but they didn't know how to develop for the GameCube. Because both of those games are horrible on the GameCube. The original release of this on the GameCube had the same loading problem the original PS2 release of Wrath of Cortex did, where the load times were like nearly a minute long on the original GameCube release. Now the Player's Choice copies fix that, and that actually has the shortest load times of, I think, of all the versions. It's pretty close to this version of the game. But even that refined version, the graphics look considerably worse. The game is much darker. Like, the colors, it's not as colorful. It doesn't support progressive scaling like the Xbox version does, and the frame rate's capped at 30 and runs below that most of the time. Like, watch footage of the GameCube version on the stage Minefield, and you'll see what I'm talking about. The PS2 and the Xbox version are much closer. They're both fine versions of the game. I don't know if the Xbox version has any visual enhancements. I just know it supports 480p. And I think it runs slightly smoother. Like on PS2 and Xbox, it's 60 frames per second. But there's like some small drops on the PS2 version that aren't present in the Xbox version. So, I don't know if you cared about that, but I wanted to just say that if you're interested in playing this game, for whatever reason, play it on the PlayStation 2 or the Xbox, avoid the GameCube version. Which is unfortunate. I hate when GameCube ports are borked because the GameCube is a more powerful system than the PlayStation 2. It should be able to handle Finding Nemo, but for some reason it doesn't. And with all that out of the way, let's get into the first level, going to school. And we have a movie cutscene we are going to skip because copyright is a bitch. We're going to have that nice little Nemo loading screen that you'll see for a minute plus on YouTube.
That's my mom. So, how's Lucky then?
Lucky, watch me swim over to that coral.
Okay, I'll meet you there. Why don't you try to swim through all those rings of bubbles on the way?
And here we are. Finding Nemo has a few styles of play, but the one you'll be seeing most is this one, where you are in a 2D environment, essentially swimming around. It's essentially a water level throughout most of the game. Also, the fish you're seeing here are not on the GameCube version, as a one little visual difference. And in terms of the graphics, you can see one place where they get it right with Nemo. I think his model's great. And Marlin, one place where they get it horribly wrong. His model's totally awful. And you also just saw the first collectible of the game. This game is very obsessed with collectibles and 100% type stuff, which makes sense because this game is really short and they clearly wanted to pad out the game time. And so, well, I'll get to that after we do this other gameplay style, which is, you know, going forwards in a 3D environment. Now, this is a bit of an iffy style. Some of the segments with that are fine, some of them really suck. Now, I want to quickly address those rings. That is one of the collectibles. There are a bunch of rings in every level. Well, I'm pretty sure every level. And one of the objectives is to get every single one.
Hi, I'm Chad. I'm obnoxious. Hello, I'm Sheldon. I'm H2O.
See, their models are fine. I just don't know what the hell went wrong with Marlin's.
Well, we can't find our friend Pearl. We think she got lost in the caves. Oh, how can we find her?
Don't even think about it. It's either school or back home for you.
But yeah, as you can see, there are 42 rings, and we will get a gold star if we get all of them. And this first level just interrupts me constantly.
Walking our way. Looks like we'll have to go home.
Nemo, naturally ignoring his father. Yeah. Here's another one of the things. Most of the stages will have 3 of these, each blue, red, and green, I believe. And there's a rock for each one, and one of the missions is to put the rocks in the right holes. It's very tedious, and it's not very fun to do. So I'm not going to be doing those missions. I'll just get what I can. And in terms of controls, you hold the A button to go a little faster. You can hit the X button to do a dash later. You can't do it at the beginning of this level for some reason. Also, fun fact, you can skip those cutscenes after you beat the level, but not the first time, which is unfortunate. Yeah, you can't dash at the beginning, which is a little weird. Oh. Yeah, this can happen. Lead me out! Doesn't follow. Literally still back here. Are you blind? I mean, how the hell do you even get lost here? It's pretty straightforward how to get out.
Look, there's Nemo. With Pearl. Hooray! You found
That is the most sarcastic delivery possible. Also, I love how in the cutscenes Nemo just has his idle animation at all times. He's very focused on what's happening, as you can tell. Yeah, this early level I think is actually pretty good. I think the beginning levels of this game do a great job teaching you what to do, and are in general fun. But you'll see the problems with this game as we get further, and why it's kind of a mixed bag, and why it hurts. Also, they can swim around that, yet you have to I don't get it. 3D is a thing in this game, yet there's times where you will be blocked by a 2D object. We're coming up on another one right now. Why can't we just swim around them like Marlin's going to do after we do this, I believe? Ah, here's another one of the 100% things. There are sometimes races. Sometimes you're required to win them in order to beat the level. Other times, there are additional challenges that count towards 100%. And we're going to win this race. And we're going to get the first gold star of the game. Those are the 100% collectibles. There's 60 in all. We're not getting all 60. I did it before, and I assure you it is not worth doing. Now, each star unlocks a bonus. Well, actually, no. Each level in the game has an additional bonus level attached to it. But the thing is, you only need to do one of the 100% challenges in order to play the bonus level. And this is how you attack enemies. You use these bubbles. And that's the end of the first level. We went to school and got 2 stars, missed 1, which is the damn pebble one. Now the bonus levels, I'm going to take the same approach that I did. I'm going to do with the rest of the game in terms of 100%. I'm going to get what I can, what I want to, but I'm not going to do it all because some of these bonus levels are just so thrown in. And now this one's fine. Essentially, you have this Pixar ball. We all know it, right? The Luxo ball. And you have to bounce it around. It's not exactly the most fun thing, but most of the challenges aren't that bad. There's one required later in the game, which, if you don't do the bonus levels, you'll be real thrown off when that happens. I think it's in Training with Gil, which you randomly have to get this through 30 rings in that level. It's the only time it's required in the entire game. There's also one level where one of the 100% things is getting through this through optional rings. This is taking me way longer than it should, by the way. This one's pretty easy. I mean, there's no way to fail this. There's only 6 rings. These are some of the best of the bonus levels. I'll describe it more when we get through this later in terms of why the other ones are kind of sucky. But I'm sure we'll get to them in terms of unlocks and the such. See, this is why I chose Find Nemo. There's a lot I can say about it. That should be it, and we're going to get another star. And what you get for being the bonus levels is some concept art, I believe, which obviously I don't care about that. But some people might, and it's better than nothing. So, save. Okay, make sure I don't overwrite one of my 100% saves. And now we're going on to the second level, Field Trip. More amazing music, more tutorial, anemone, anemone.
I will, Dad.
By the way, hiding in those things is not their point.
They'll protect you in case you run into anything dangerous.
Okay, Dad. Come on, I need to go find my class.
Alright, so he explained a couple things. I'll go a little more in depth. At base, you have only one hit. You get hit, you die with a usually fun little death animation. These krill acts as your health. It's kind of like Sonic with rings. You get the krill and they're your health. And you want to have as many as you can unless you're going for 100%, in which you need to die sometimes in order to go back to get rings you missed in the 3D sections. Which we're not doing in this series. And the anemones are one of the most thrown... They're so pointless. For one, the point is not to hide in them. They give you invincibility when you go into them, but there's only like a couple in the entire game. Also, this is invincibility. And your controls get all messed up too. There's also these seashells that act as a sort of score, but they don't mean anything. So there's no real reason to go after it. Oh, and by the way, another one of the 100% things is kill all of the killable enemies. I say killable because there are some enemies in the game that are not killable. You know, I recently had a guy fix my Xbox. I wonder what he thinks about the fact that these are the types of games I'm playing on it. I'm only playing the best the system has to offer. Man, there's a number of these enemies. So there's 10 in this one. That's probably the bonus we'll get for this one in order to unlock the bonus level. And you get combos if you're streamed together, which is satisfying, but...
Well, hello there, new explorer. Nemo, isn't it? All new explorers must answer a science question. You live in what kind of home? Okay, don't hurt yourself. We're on a field trip today, class, so follow me and I'll
This
show you
damn
around.
teacher embarrassing this poor kid in front of all of his friends. Yeah. Here's one of the things you'll have to do in these chase segments is keep up with another character. Now, this section doesn't require it, but a section later in this level will, to where you cannot fall too far behind. And in those sections, you have to swim through a bunch of, guess what, rings in order to keep your speed. And this is another random gameplay style, which, to be fair, it's from the movie, the jellyfish bouncing, but they use it a lot in this game. And guess what another one of the 100% things is? Bouncing on all of the bouncies. You can see where I'm going with this game's kind of collecting obsessed. And like so many of the 100% things are things you just do in other games, you know? Like killing all of the enemies is one of them. And it just feels excessive. And I get why they did it, like I said. This game's short. They need to extend the game time. But still, I think there's 18 levels in this game, and we're on the second, and we're, you know, how far into this video? And of course, there's all the intro shit too. So yeah, we just missed a couple rings, and I'm not gonna sweat it. If I was going for 100%, I would have to run into all those clams and die. Well, we just got hit a whole bunch, didn't we? Now, those 3 sections can be pretty annoying in terms of avoiding things. There are so many things it's hard to see coming, and that's one of this game's problems. And this stage it isn't too bad, of course, but we're at the very beginning of the game. It'll get worse. I have no clue why that bubble's there. Don't ask me. Oh, God. So you need to kill this clam, but I forget how you do it. Oh. It worked that time. Actually, I can tell you another reason I'm kind of got interested in this game. It's developed by Traveler's Tales, who, as I said in my Wrath of Cortex video, that I assume will come out just before this does. I really respect Traveler's Tales. They have made a lot of fantastic games over the years, and they've made games I grew up with and have a lot of nostalgia for. And all the times they, you know, have a game, there's always some good things about it. Like Rascal is one of the worst games on the PlayStation 1, but it runs at 60 frames per second. And it looks pretty nice. Find Nemo. It runs at 60 FPS. Hard to believe that they get that technically right. I mean, god damn it. This is what I get for not waiting long enough. Man, while we wait, yeah. The technical aspects for Traveler's Tales are pretty good. They're technical wizards in a lot of ways. I mean, they did a lot, especially with the Sega Genesis. You can see some of that with the John Burton's channel. But I'm going to wait a little longer. But then there's times where they screwed up with the GameCube, and you wonder, okay, what happened here? And I believe that's the last one. Yeah, I'm only getting some of these. Getting all these is a pain in the butt. Well, now, wasn't that a mistake? And by the way, this is gonna take even longer than it would. Like, you can really just rush through this game. Which, by the way, why the collectibles are here. You can just rush through the entire game, doing very little if none of this was here. My approach is probably the best way to play. Get what you can, get what you're comfortable with. And that's probably how you're going to get the most enjoyment out of this game. 100% it's extremely tedious, and I do not recommend doing it. But if you also rush through everything, you're going to get bored. And you'll also be, not experiencing a whole lot of hours. And you just won't be getting the most out of your money.
Here we are, kids. That's
And I believe we're at the end of the levels.
but remember to be careful and don't wander off.
Though, to be fair, this game is like really cheap, which is part of the reason why I own 2 copies of it. I bought the GameCube copy for $1. I bought the Xbox copy for like $2. The shipping was more expensive. Which, hey, if you're curious, this game is really cheap on every platform it's on, if you want to try this game. I think it's worth giving a shot. It's a very interesting game. And there's good to it. Ah, this damn bonus level. There aren't many of these, but this one bounce bonus level is insanely annoying. And one I probably won't end up doing. Essentially, you got 100 of these things, but they're a jellyfish. They will bounce kind of randomly to different ones. And your job is to not get hit by those jellyfish. If you do, you will die. And the annoying thing, you will restart the entire section. The entire thing. See, I was at 25, I died, and we're back at the start. I might give this a couple goes, but I ain't spending 20 minutes on this. What I'm probably going to do is I'm going to do up to the drop-off. And I'm going to do another video. The controls on the bouncing thing, I also have to emphasize, they suck. Because the angles are never really nice, and the way it controls, there will be a lot of times where you go somewhere you didn't want to, and a lot of times to where you don't go when you want to, and take longer than you would like. And both of those things have the potential to screw you over, especially in an area like this. And the idea is to use those to get away from the jellyfish, but eventually you're going to have just a few left, and the jellyfish are going to be right there. You also can't always see them very well. Now, what was I supposed to do there? How was I supposed to know it was going to go there? This bonus stage sucks. It took me way too long to do it the first time, and I do not care enough to spend that much time doing it again. That's one bonus stage we'll skip, and one that kind of sucks. Now, the drop-off. This level's pretty short, pretty uninteresting, but it's fine. Has this real intimidating music. Yeah, the level starts with this section here, then it goes into a couple chase segments, and it's pretty short. I mean, as you can see, one of the 100% things, we only have 3 enemies to kill. Now, here's the second anemone of the game, by the way. I'm keeping track. Remember, this is something they introduced nice and early. They consider this important to know. And I do want to at least get one of the stars, so I'm gonna wait a sec for these to respawn. Like, that's my goal, at least get 1 star per level. Because I do want to at least show each bonus stage, even if I don't actually beat them. Like, I do kind of want to make this like a walkthrough. Because, once again, there's not much of this game on YouTube. There's definitely more than there is with Wally. That's number 3 in the game. There's definitely more of this game on YouTube than there is of Wally, the last one I did. But still kind of lacking. There's definitely still a need for more Finding Nemo. Alright, and that was the main section done with.
Cool. Hey, what's that? I know what that is. Oh, Sandy Plankton saw one. He said it was called a butt. Look at me. I'm gonna go touch the butt. Come on, Nemo. How far can you go?
This is a great moment.
This is not safe.
You know you can't swim around.
A total 180 in like 2 seconds. Also, that image of Marlin coming is straight out of a horror film. Now, this section's annoying. Like it's just annoying. The big thing is, I don't know if you can tell, but there are currents here that will blow you in certain directions, and you have to fight it with your controller. And every time they implement this, it's super annoying, because they also just have to have a whole lot of hazards. Like, there are so many goddamn hazards here. And to be fair, you stick to the middle and you're usually fine. Except the rare time those eels come by. And by the way, another another lovely death animation. Another reason 100% this shit sucks is getting the rings. And they're almost all in the center, but there will be times where they're right before or right after those eels. And the current killed me there. So, yeah, this is definitely a very difficult part. It's definitely the first time this game gets difficult. And I will say that this game is surprisingly difficult, and there's a lot of annoying, difficult things in this game. And it's not just of this type. I'm wondering when we get to the first example. So I don't want to mention it until we, see it. But it's a very good example. Yeah, I'm not going to get the rings in this one. Because getting the rings in this one is really, really annoying to do. And now this last, few seconds, there's, no obstacles. For some reason. They just give it to you. Once you reach this point.
Stop right now. Don't you dare. If you put one fan on that boat, are you listening to me? Nemo!
He touched the butt.
That's right. You just paddle your little tail right back here, Nemo. You are in big trouble.
No kidding. Talk about the most brain-dead segment. All you do is stay in the center. Literally, that's all you do. You hold A, you stay in the center, he'll never catch you. Doesn't get more brain-dead than this. Just after that really difficult section we just had. Then we got 1 or 2 more sets. I think we have 1 more set. Yeah, I missed 1. Wah wah. But I got the enemies, so I still can show the bonus level. And then we'll end off the first episode of Let's Play Finding Nemo for the Xbox. But also the PlayStation 2 and the GameCube. Worth noting, by the way, there is a PC version of this game And that is one of those shitty point and clicks. It lasts like an hour. It's even shorter than this game is. That's unfortunate. I hate when they don't port the console games to a PC, because The Incredibles got a PC port, and I can't wait until the day I let's play that. Hopefully there's a day I let's play that. Because it's going to be the PC version, and that one's awesome. Oh! But here we are at what is undoubtedly the worst part of this game, the slide puzzles. This game is obsessed with these things. There are a lot of these, and of course they are annoying to do. And I'm just going to say this right now, I'm not even trying here. I don't plan on beating this one, I'm just doing this so something's happening on the screen while I talk about this. This game has a lot of slide puzzles. There are multiple of the bonus levels that are like this, and eventually there are going to be levels that require this in the main game. And that's kind of, you know, terrible. Because who the hell wants slide puzzles in their Finding Nemo video game, right? And in my mind, it's kind of like they're trying to do like some edutainment shit. Like, you ever have one of those VTEX things? Or leapfrogs? Like, those early childhood video game consoles. This feels like an attempt to be like that in a more mature way. Like, it feels like that for 10-year-olds. With the difference being that I am a 19-year-old and I still have so much trouble with this. No one likes these, and they're difficult and they're boring, and as I said, no one likes these. No one. And there are a lot of them in this game. They're easily the game's biggest flaw. And the worst part is there are 4 levels in a row in the main game that have one of these damn slide puzzles that you have to do. For the ones you have to do in the main game, I'll give them a few minutes of my time to actually try solving them, and then I'll just look up the solution and show you the solution from scratch. Now, actually, you know what? That's what I'm going to do from the start, because I don't want to give these my time. I already did. I'm not doing it again. Essentially, there are way too many of these in the game. It feels edutainment-y. But even me, a 19-year-old man, to be fair, I'm not the smartest 19-year-old man in the world. But I'm 19, I can't do these in under 10 minutes. It takes me 20. I don't like doing them. Screw these, and they are easily this game's biggest problem. With that, I shall end the first video of Finding Nemo. I hope you enjoyed this first part, and I hope you enjoy seeing me do a Let's Play again. I'm curious how the numbers on this one will be. Wally did well. I'm curious to see how Finding Nemo does. But that's it. See you next time, where we will be tackling Mask Chase and a few others.